Hi, this is Christine Lackey with Untangled Mom, and let's untangle this. And this today is about present day parenting and why I do what I do. Um, I believe so much in getting information. So read the books on how to parent, read the books on how to show up, and then take that information and then drop it. It's important to just show up and be present to what is. And why do I feel that way? So my background is I have an undergrad in psychology from the University of Florida. I have a master's in clinical psychology from Pepperdine University. I was going on for a PhD when I was like, I think that this isn't working for me. There's something that's missing in this. Hold on a second, I want to see something. Anyhow, I said, there's something that's missing in this for me. So I decided to keep studying outside of the university, and I studied with some more independent teachers. One of the teachers that I came across was a gentleman by the name of Barry Kaufman, and he has a place called the Option Institute. And I went and studied with him for a while, and I learned some amazing gems from him. The first gem that he taught was we are incredibly judgmental people. He actually taught a class on judgment, and I was like, this is stupid. Like, I'm so not taking a class on judgment. Did you hear the judgment, by the way? So it was one of the most amazing classes because it really brought to my awareness just how judgmental we all are. And it's quick and it's fast and it happens all of the time. And judgment creates paralysis, and judgment creates separation, and judgment creates pain. It does. The other thing that he taught was with regard to parenting was curiosity. Get curious. Leave your judgments and assumptions to the side and meet your children in curiosity. So when they're playing and they're doing things, it's getting really curious. Well, I wonder why you're doing that. When they behave a certain way or react a certain way, gosh, I wonder why you do that. And it's a really beautiful way of meeting your children, because his philosophy is, this isn't about saying to our children, this is my world and you live in it. This is our world and we live in it. So we have to meet that way. And in meeting that way too, we have a tendency of not speaking down to our children. When we have a belief system that this is my house and this is my world and you fit in it, we have a tendency of speaking down to our children. It's just part of the package. But if this is ours, then we meet that way and we speak to them as respectfully as we would a friend or a neighbor or somebody else that we love. We speak respectfully to them. And that was a gem for me. The other part is I then studied worldwide with a woman by the name of Brandon Bays, teaching a process called The Journey. And what that process is about is I would work with adults to go into previous pain, trauma, adults that may have had some physical issues going on at the time, emotional issues going on at the time. And what we would always come up with were memories from the past, from when they were much smaller, when they were little people, and some previous pain. And over and over and over again, it was the same story. I wasn't seen. I didn't feel heard. I wasn't loved. This particular situation happened and nobody had my back. That person wasn't there. It wasn't always like, it's not about blame. It's about finding what the emotion was inside. And the thing for me that I loved was, it was like I got a chance to look into the eyes of a 3-year-old, right? Or a 4-year-old, or some of us, it was middle school. But the words that were coming out and how it's being described to me as those from an adult. So it was clearer for me to understand. Because if we ask a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old or a middle schooler, for that case, what are you feeling? A lot of times it's really hard for them to explain. But when I'm working with an adult and we can go back, I'm like, I got it. Then I started studying something called attachment theory. And attachment theory is how we learn to relate with our primary caregivers when we're really little, how we relate to them, how they relate to us, translates into how we show up in relationship today. So hear that. It's how we show up in relationship today, because our primary caregivers, they mirrored how we're supposed to feel, how we're supposed to behave, what we think, what we value. So we take that unconsciously and bring it into today. So the package that I meet families with and kids with is multifaceted. I've got the scholastic background, got the emotional background, I've got the attachment theory, and it's all so much fun. And my intention is to meet everybody and drop it all and listen to what's presenting in this moment. Because as parents, and I can speak to me specifically, if I choose to hold on to pain from the past, or maybe how I was parented, then I'm going to bring that today, right? So I had shared a story the other night about one of the things that got me into this was when my son was 2, he was still in a diaper and he was having tantrums, and no matter what I was trying, it wasn't working, and I swatted him on the bottom and I got a whoosh. I was like, ooh, that worked. And I felt a little power to it too, right? Like I'm in charge. That was powerful. And probably about 45 minutes, an hour later, he started another tantrum and I smacked him again on the bottom. And this time that whoosh was more powerful. And this time I felt bigger and more inflated. And I went, oh, shoot. By the way, I curse a lot. Sorry. It's just the way that it is, but I edited that one really well. But I said, oh, shoot. That felt good. Why did that feel good? And I sat with it. Like, what is that? I was like, oh, I know this because this is the way that I was brought up. We were hit a lot as kids. A lot of us were, right? And then I had the opportunity to say, okay, but is this how I want to parent? No. Is this what I value? No. Okay, so what's my choice? I had to go and learn some other ways of being. I had to learn how new tools to bring in that I didn't have, right? And the other choice I had was how do I feel in this moment when I'm with my children? When I'm triggered by something, what's here? Because a lot of times it's old stuff that doesn't even have anything to do with my kids. And I had the opportunity in a given moment to stop and go, okay, hold on a minute. Let me get clear. Let me pause. Let me take a break. And now I'm going to respond to my kids. I will say it's hard for a lot of parents to say I'm a good parent. It's hard. But I'm going to tell you, I'm a good parent. And I own that. And I feel really good about saying it. And I look around and see the proof every day. Last night, I walked into my son's room. He's 10 and his sister's 14. And they're cuddled in bed together, watching a little show on the tablet, laughing. My kids don't fight very often, like ever. They just don't. They really love each other. They really get along well. And a part of that is because I choose to parent them in the moment. I choose to stay present to my kids. And as they were young and growing up together, when they're younger, it's harder, but I always had these rules. We speak to each other respectfully. You can be mad. You can be frustrated. You can need space. And how do you share that? With respect, because this is called relationship. And it shows in the way my kids show up every day. It makes me so incredibly proud. And I get comments from teachers, from principals, from other parents all the time going, what's going on? And I honestly believe the parents that I meet along the way and it takes work, by the way, it takes work, who choose to get the information and bring it into the present moment and show up with and for their kids, they have a very different dynamic in the home. And their kids relate very differently. They relate differently. And what we're doing is we're creating really secure kids moving forward. Does this mean you have to be present 100% of the time, 24/7? No, because basically in today's world, that's just absolutely impossible. Absolutely impossible. And some of the studies have shown that if you can show up 30% of the time, 30%, think about it, 30% of the time, show up present to the moment and secure with your kids, you are going to help develop a secure kid. You're nurturing that. And by the way, you're receiving so much more for yourself so that you can then take that out into your work and your community, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And being a secure mom or dad or business person, it all translates. So that's why I do what I do. That's my background. I invite you to do your homework, get information, let it go, be present. And sort of what happens when you have that information and then you're present to your kids, it's sort of like that information just comes through you. And sometimes you say things, you're like, ooh, that was good. I don't know where it came from, but that was good. It came from listening to talks like this It comes from reading, and it comes from letting go of the past. Let go of the past, be present with your kids, and parent in the moment. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, please contact me, Christine Lackey, an Untangled Mom, and I hope you have a great day.